Johnny Manziel will become even bigger in the city of Cleveland than his buddy and business partner LeBron James ever was.
Johnny Manziel's not lasting 12 years in this league.
Johnny Manziel was a college football star, but he was also a man with personal demons.
I don't think there's anything wrong with partying, bro.
Yeah.
There's a difference between partying and being out of control.
Yeah,
Johnny had charisma, ability, and an exciting play style, but his rise to fame would lead to a dramatic fall.
There is no future for Johnny Manziel with the Cleveland Browns, certainly not anymore.
New developments in the domestic assault investigation of NFL quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel.
The Montreal Alouettes have released quarterback Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel took the college football world by storm in 2012, from his debut against Florida.
Johnny Football with a night to remember. Touchdown, Texas A&M.
To his thrilling win against Alabama.
Got him. No, they didn't. Oh, my gracious. Yep. How about that?
Capping the season by becoming the first freshman to ever win the Heisman Trophy.
The 2012 winner of the Heisman Memorial Trophy is Johnny Manziel.
Johnny's Heisman season would see him throw for over 3,700 yards, rush for over 1,400 yards, and account for 47 total touchdowns. He broke the SEC record for offensive production, passing greats like Cam Newton and Tim Tebow along the way. Johnny Football appeared to be on his way to becoming an NFL star. Unfortunately, after the Heisman season, cracks would start to show. From reports of NCAA violations.
The latest incident actually stems back from last October, November, when right before he beat the University of Alabama the night before, and that was his coming out party, by the way, in Tuscaloosa, he signed apparently 50 autographs. A couple days later, he signed another 200. Apparently, he profited somewhere in the lines of $10,000 to $20,000.
To partying habits.
On Friday night, Manziel was reportedly quickly and harshly removed from a frat party.
Here's Johnny.
Welcome back to the Unlikely Success Channel. In our first episode of Icarus Ignored, we are going on the reckless journey of Johnny Football. For those of you wondering where the Icarus Ignored name comes from, it stems from the Greek mythology of Icarus. In the myth of Icarus, he and his father are flying with wings made of wax, and despite his father's warnings, Icarus flies too close to the sun. Needless to say, things do not work out well for Icarus. In the Icarus Ignored series, we will explore individuals with success in their grasps that failed to take heed to flying too close to the sun and never realized their full potential. Now, we begin the reckless journey of Johnny Football. We start the journey after Johnny's improbable Heisman-winning freshman season. He had come out of nowhere to win the Heisman, but now he was a household name. Reports would surface that Johnny was signing autographs for money. The story received national coverage and led to questions about Johnny's eligibility for the upcoming season. Signing autographs for money was specifically against NCAA rules at the time. It violated bylaw 12.5.2.1, which forbids a player from permitting, quote, the use of his or her name or picture to advertise, recommend, or promote directly the sale or use of a commercial product or service of any kind, end quote. The late 2000s and early 2010s had seen a rash of scandals around signing memorabilia with suspensions handed out that varied in severity. In 2010, Georgia star wide receiver A.J. Green was suspended for 4 games. 14 players at the University of North Carolina had been suspended for a game, and now the college world waited to see what happened to Johnny Football. Texas A&M was relieved when Johnny was suspended for only the first half of the first game and nothing more. Adding more fuel to the fire, the offseason had brought into question whether Manziel was partying too much. With TMZ reporting that he had been kicked out of a frat party, questions were swirling about Johnny's character. The Aggies would start the season ranked 6th in the AP polls and deliver some highlights, but they finished the season 9-4 and ranked 18th, which was a disappointment that did not deliver on expectations. Manziel's most impressive performance came in a 49-42 loss to Alabama, where he'd throw for 464 yards and 5 touchdowns. The team's less than expected performance overall was not a byproduct of a down year from Johnny. He would nearly match his stats from the Heisman season, throwing for over 4,100 yards, rushing for over 750 yards, and combining for 46 total touchdowns. Manziel would finish the season 5th in the Heisman voting, but questions continued to swirl about his love and commitment to the game of football. Johnny would declare himself eligible for the NFL draft after his sophomore season. His declaration was a surprise to no one.
He still has 3 more years of eligibility, but can college football take 3 more years of Johnny football?
Draft experts and scouts were split on Manziel. Skip Bayless saw him as an extreme competitor who would succeed in the NFL, while Merrill Hodge and Colin Cowherd believed his personality would drag him into being a bust. Manziel was projected to be anywhere from a top 5 pick to falling completely out of the first round.
You are going bust.
If he's a first round, shoot, even like really a top 3 rounds. He's a 5th or 6th round grade. If you have a compensatory pick, graft him there, but not in the first round.
I'm sorry, I got a question. Are you saying that Johnny Manziel may not even be worth a pick in the first 3 rounds?
Oh, I wouldn't. Listen, you know, obviously it's not a perfect science, but I think people who would take him in the first round,
I'm saying first overall.
If you took him first overall, I would think that staff would be gone in 2 years, and whoever made that pick would be gone in 2 years.
With all due respect, you have never, ever been more wrong in your assessment of a football player than you just were about Johnny Manziel. Not only will Houston forever regret if they don't take Johnny with the first overall pick, but he won't be a bust. He's going to be a franchise player. He's going to be a star. He will make Pro Bowls.
In a draft that featured the likes of Aaron Donald, Odell Beckham, Zach Martin, and Manziel's teammate Mike Evans, Manziel was the 2nd quarterback taken. He was not a top 5 pick, but he was a primary topic of the draft. Leading into the draft, Manziel had texted Dowell Loggins that he wanted to, quote, wreck the league, end quote. At the time, Loggins was the Cleveland Browns quarterback coach, and he forwarded this on to head coach Mike Pettin. Taken by the Cleveland Browns after they traded up, Manziel was the 22nd selection of the NFL draft. This was another unfortunate moment since the Browns had been a perennial bottom dweller in the National Football League. Some would even wonder, did Manziel actually want to be drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and was he going to be happy there?
Maybe Manziel doesn't want to go to Cleveland. I remember Brady Quinn, he slipped. Remember, everybody thought Brady Quinn was going in the top 5. He slipped and he went all the way to Cleveland. Cleveland hasn't worked out very well for a lot of quarterbacks.
After the draft, it didn't take long before things took another dramatic turn for Johnny. During the preseason, Johnny would be fined for a preseason incident where he flipped off the Washington Redskins players on the field. I'm going to go ahead and say this did not help the wild card image of Johnny Manziel. Worse yet, head coach Mike Pettin had said that Manziel would not be simply handed the starting job, and he held true to his word by naming journeyman Brian Hoyer the starter going into the season. Hoyer would start the first 13 games of the season, leading the Browns to a 7-6 record. The team had lost 3 of their last 4 games when Hoyer was not playing well at all, which would cause the Browns to turn the team over to Johnny Manziel. In his first NFL action, Manziel would score a rushing touchdown against the Buffalo Bills. In Manziel's first start against the Cincinnati Bengals, he would throw for 80 yards and 2 interceptions. The game seemed to be moving way too fast for Johnny. In his second start, he would complete only 3 passes and left the game with a hamstring injury. This would conclude his rookie season. All said and done, his rookie campaign would see him throw for less than 200 yards and rush for 29 yards and a single touchdown. The offseason would see Browns writers and players question Manziel's work ethic, with some even calling his rookie season a, quote, joke.
This latest incident, the guys that really do care about winning football and don't hang out with Johnny, the guys like Joe Thomas, this was kind of a last straw for them too. Joe went on the record after the game basically saying, this isn't going to cut it, and I said, what do you need from him? And he said, just a guy that's going to show that Cleveland Browns football is the most important thing to him, and right now it's not.
The 2015 campaign did not get much better for Johnny. He would not win the starting quarterback spot, but he would get opportunities. Starting quarterback Josh McCown had an injury-plagued season, opening the door for Manziel, which he would regularly shut on himself. On November 17th, he was named the starter for the rest of the season. Only 1 week later, it would be rescinded, and he would be demoted to third-string quarterback after he had spent the bye week partying in Texas. Manziel would get even more chances to start, but those were out of necessity and not a desire by the Browns to have him start. Manziel's season would go out with a whimper as he sat out the final week with a concussion. Reports circulated that he had even spent that final week partying in Vegas despite the injury. Overall, his second season in the NFL would see Johnny finish as a 2-4 starter, throwing for 1,500 yards with 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He would also add 230 rushing yards. It was definitely not the season the Browns had hoped for from their second-year quarterback. Following the 2015 season, allegations of domestic assault came out. Manziel would be released by the Browns as soon as they were allowed to do so. The allegations were serious in nature and stemmed from a night out of what else? Partying. We won't go into the full allegations, but know that they were serious enough for an NFL team to release him from contract and that he has never played in the NFL again. The Browns had gone so far as releasing a statement that Manziel continued to, quote, disregard our expectation of players on and off the field, end quote. Johnny was more interested in being a celebrity and partying than he was at succeeding at his craft. In more recent years, Johnny has acknowledged his accountability in how things worked out. He has also discussed his commitment to work on mental health and achieving a better life balance. He has played in lesser football leagues and may still be able to capture success in other aspects of his life.
I look back now and say that there were no accidents in my life, even with what happened in Cleveland or this and that. I think everything went exactly the way that it was supposed to.
Johnny Manziel's journey from stardom to downfall serves as a cautionary tale of the potential pitfalls of success. Like Icarus, he flew too close to the sun and unfortunately fell back to reality. While his name may be tarnished, Johnny's focus on mental health shows a path towards personal growth and redemption. The Icarus Ignored series aims to shed light on these cautionary stories, reminding us all that success is fragile. Success is not promised and should be recognized as the gift that it is. What lessons can we take away from Johnny's approach to his unbridled success? What could Johnny Manziel's career have been if he had made different choices? Do you think that he could have been an NFL star? Let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts, and we also recommend that you join the community to keep up with the Icarus Ignored series, along with all of our other great content. Thank you for watching the reckless journey of Johnny Football. Keep chasing your dreams and keep chasing your success. I leave you with this one clip from Johnny Manziel that summarizes how he felt about his career and the related transgressions.
I was living my best life in college, playing football in the SEC, and having the time of my life. And I'll never apologize to anybody for that.